Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hi, everyone. This is Tammy Patzer, and I'm really excited to introduce today's guest, Ariann Thomas. She's a best-selling author and international speaker, and she is the leading expert in ancestral wisdom. She has studied ancient traditions and their practices in working with ancestors who have passed. She combines this with modern science and the study of epigenetics in a way that brings healing to all generations. Welcome.
Tammy, thanks so much for inviting me to be here. I'm delighted to talk with you today.
This is actually a really interesting topic because I know for a fact that what you're talking about is real because I've experienced it in my own life. I noticed and recognized that my family seemed to have a history of low self-esteem, and it's something that I was really interested in finding out more about. But explain more about what you do and answer the question, I guess, that we all have in our mind is, can we really change our destiny once we're here, knowing this information, and can we change that genetic heritage?
Absolutely. For a very long time, there was a debate in scientists about whether our genes control our life or whether our environment, how we were raised, what we were taught, our education, the food we ate, the environment we were raised in controlled how we grew up, our economic situation, as to how our life turned out. And the answer is now in. And the answer is none of that controls it, which is actually very positive for us because the answer is we control our destiny. Our genetic heritage that we inherited from our family in our genes are basically like the building blocks of our lives. We all have DNA that we got from our family. And we also inherited our belief systems from our family that we unconsciously absorbed when we grew up. You know, our family said, this is good, this is bad. People should be honest. People should be fair. This is right, this is wrong. And those things we began to absorb, particularly when we were very young, before we were 6 or 7, and became part of our worldview, like your self-esteem issue. And so psychologists said, well, that's what controls how you grow up and what you think about the world. And the medical people and the scientists said, no, it's in your genes. And they control how you live. But very recently, and it's only been in the last 20 years, that scientists started studying the human genome, the actual DNA that's in our cells. And what they found is that we actually have control over what genes we turn on in our body and what genes we turn off in our body. And that's amazingly good news.
That is good news. But how, I mean, from a layperson's point of view, it's like, well, but how could you turn off the things you don't want that is in your genetic or DNA profile, and keep or enhance the things you do want.
Yeah. And you would think it would be hard, right? Actually, it is about consciousness. It is truly about consciousness, which, Tammy, you talk about all the time. That's what your guests talk about. And that's what our lives are about. And that's how I came to know about this. Because what happened in my life, which is very similar to what happened in your life, is I was not so merrily going about my life, doing all of those things that I was taught. You know, get a good job, get a good education, make money. And I was in the corporate world, and I was a lawyer, and I had this great reputation. I was working 60 hours a week in a law firm, and I had money in the bank. I was married, and I was so depressed I was suicidal. And everybody said, "Oh, you have such a wonderful life. Isn't it grand?" And one day I was at work, and I got so tired. I told my boss, "I'm going home. I think I'm coming down with the flu." And 2 weeks later, I was in the hospital, and the doctor said, we're sending you home because you're going to die, and there is nothing we can do about it because we don't have a clue of what's wrong.
Oh my goodness. So it basically you were exhausted, went home thinking that you had the flu, ended up in the hospital, and they probably spent all that time trying to figure out what was wrong. Did you end up going home?
Yes. Yes, I ended up going home.
What happened?
A friend of mine brought a shaman over who pulled me back from the brink of death. And I'm part Native American. And so this shaman did energetic work and connected me to my heritage. And that's when I learned that, Western science and medicine doesn't have all of the answers, that the indigenous people have been working with different energies and different medicine, and they have different answers than the Western world's mechanistic view of our life. And so I started connecting with the ancestors, and I now do energetic work called Ancestral Lineage Clearing, where I go and connect with our ancestors and shift energy related to our genetic heritage, where I connect with our ancestors and say, help me change what is embedded in our DNA that I inherited, that you inherited from our ancestors. And let's change that and bring that new energy back into our lives now so that we no longer have to carry these negative patterns of unwellness, of unhappiness, of low self-esteem, of poverty, of disconnection in our relationships, so that we can be connected to the divine, we can be connected to the world and live our life in happiness.
Well, of course, the question that came to my mind is okay, so how do you do that? Because it is really interesting, because when you brought up the topic of consciousness, there was a period in my life where all I really was trying to do was survive, make it through from one day to the other, keep a roof over my head, take care of 3 children. look to the future to go, I better do something now so that we will continue to have a roof over our head, and then looking back and looking at all the mistakes along the way. And then now I'm learning more about what it means to truly be conscious and how to be, I guess, awakened or whatever. It seems like most people go through some type of a cycle or something where they become more aware that there is this consciousness that sometimes I think we actually suppress it because of all the health issues, the low self-esteem issues, the pain that we experience, the family things that are passed down to us by, you can't have that because we don't have the money, all of those limiting beliefs that we're told. And of course, our parents brought it from their parents and so on and so on. But the fact that I do think it's genetically connected, the more that I study and learn, the more that I can see that path that is woven through genetics, because we know now more about genetics than we ever did before. So when you work with people, you're actually helping people at many levels, the physical level, the mental level, the spiritual level, because you talked about that disconnect from the divine. And it seems to me that many people have that disconnect, and that's why they have the worries and the monkey mind and the fear of the future and living in the past and not dealing with whatever it is that is holding back. So how do you work with people?
Good question, Tammy. Yes, what I do is I do shamanic journeying with people. I also do karma clearing so that I can help people connect with their ancestors and basically clear those negative belief systems that they have inherited from their families. And in karma clearing, I clear the negative energy that they've brought into this lifetime from previous lifetimes, and those contracts that they have brought into this lifetime from other lifetimes that they have agreed to clear. And what I often find is that the people that come to me are the ones who have agreed that this is the lifetime that they are going to clear those issues in their families, not only for themselves, but for the family. Because one of the things that the new science of epigenetics has shown us is that in our genes, we inherit the memories of our ancestors. We inherit their memories and their belief systems. And that's what causes us to disconnect from the divine. That's what causes us to have the beliefs that we're not worthy to have prosperity, that we're not worthy to have a good and loving relationship with a partner, that we're not worthy to have a good job, a fulfilling career where our soul is satisfied. And when we release those belief systems, then our life attracts the energy and the people that make life worthwhile and fulfill our life purpose. And the scientific research that has been happening shows that not only do we release that belief system and that the new energy can come in so we can connect with a positive consciousness, but we can actually prevent damage to our DNA and we can repair the damaged DNA that causes us ill health, that causes us to repeat those bad relationship decisions we've made in the past, that causes us to make poor financial decisions and to make poor judgments in our lives. And let me give you some specific example of what you can do to actually repair damaged DNA.
Okay, that sounds good to me. Because anytime that you can give somebody some specific steps that they can take to repair damaged DNA, I'd say that's a pretty good piece of advice. I'd say everybody, if you might want to re-listen to this and make sure that you are taking notes so that you can really process this information. So go ahead and tell me.
Let me give you 3 specific examples that people can write down. And let me also tell you, you've heard these before. You just didn't know how they worked. Okay?
Okay.
Scientific studies have shown that meditation actually repairs damaged DNA. Okay? Now, that doesn't mean that you can sit down today, meditate for 30 minutes, and you're going to fix yourself. The studies have shown that long-term regular meditation actually repairs damaged DNA. And the reason it does so is that stress is the number one source of damaging our DNA. And when you meditate, it repairs the brain, the prefrontal cortex of your brain that connects your left brain and your right brain. So that when you meditate regularly, you reduce your stress level, you repair your prefrontal cortex and the DNA in there, and it like seeps through your body and it repairs your DNA. Okay? So if you don't have a regular meditation process or practice, I recommend you begin. The second study that the researchers have conducted, and this is a long-term study of over 10 years, is that yoga, long-term practice of yoga, actually repairs damaged DNA. Because it, again, is a mindfulness process that connects your body and your mind. It reduces stress levels, and it releases toxins in your body, and it processes them. It reduces stress, and it actually repairs DNA. So again, you can't just take one yoga class. This is a regular practice of yoga, which will actually repair DNA. They have shown that the centurions, people who live more than a century, who engage in long-term yoga practice, regular breathing, and regular stress relief, most of those people engage in some kind of practice similar to yoga or actual yoga itself. The third thing that you can do is what is now being called mindfulness practice. Okay? And what it's about is it is about paying attention to the good things in life, having a positive attitude so that you are focused on the beauty in life, the good things that happen. You wake up in the morning and you say, hello to the sun. You notice the flowers. You love your children. You pet your cat or dog. You say hello to your neighbors. Instead of turning on the news and listening to all the negativity, by focusing on joy and happiness and positivity, you are refocusing your brain to trigger your endorphins and triggering those positive enzymes and hormones in your body so that you are increasing the positive elements in your bodies that release toxins, that flood your body with the positive elements that support good health, good mental health, positive emotions, and positive physical resources that result in resilience. So that when something happens, when something negative happens, I mean, everybody's not going to have a good day every day, but you can face it and bounce back. And those are just 3 simple steps that you can take that are going to change and heal any damaged genetic patterns that you have.
So meditation, yoga, and mindfulness are 3 simple things that people can do. Now, with that in mind, I'm really curious about the future of not me, but can we affect like, for example, I'm a grandmother. So if I work on me, how does that affect the people who are already living, like my children, their children, or their future children? And how does it have like a ripple effect backwards into the now and forwards?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The beautiful thing about shifting your genes is that when you shift your genetic pattern in the present, is that it affects everyone related to you. Because anyone in your resonant field will be affected. Your children, your grandchildren, your siblings, if your parents are alive, because as in quantum physics, when you change one related particle, any other related particle also changes. Okay? So that anyone that that surrounds you in that energetic field is altered when you alter your genetic field. Okay? Now, let me give you one caveat. All right? Everyone has free will. So that you can change your genetic pattern. And if someone in your family says, "Oh, you're doing things differently. You know, you are being happy, you are being healthy, you are being joyful, you are doing positive things in your life." Well, good for you, but I like the way my life's going, so too bad. They can choose to continue their life path the way they want to, because it is difficult moving out of a comfortable pathway. And sometimes choosing to change your life path is difficult. And so if they no longer want to choose that path, it is their right to do so. But your example, your healing of those damaged genes will resonate. And what I have seen in my own family is that although there is initial resistance, eventually it does influence them. It does influence them. And eventually they go, "You know, it may be uncomfortable for me to change, but you look so much better. You feel so much better. You know, maybe I think I'll try some of that."
Well, that is really, if you look at your family and how you do influence, like I can really see as I grow and my consciousness gets higher and I'm more aware, I notice that I am like pulling my family members up with me. And it is interesting how, again, it isn't anything that you're doing on purpose. It's not like I'm there, shaking them, saying, do this, that. But I do notice that all of a sudden they're making these better decisions. It's like, okay. It's really interesting. I'm sure we could continue talking, but I'll have to invite you back to talk to me again about some more topics because I know that you've written some books and because I picked one up when I met you at the New Media Summit with Steve Olsher. And so you have the book, Healing Family Patterns, Ancestral Lineage Clearing for Personal Growth, and then Changing Our Genetic Heritage, Creating a New Reality for Ourselves and Future Generations. That was the book I think I got you to sign when I was out in San Diego where I met you. And then you're also a co-author in The Female Factor, A Confidence Guide for Women and the Total Woman, and then a contributing author to Yoga for the Brain that's coming out in 2020. And you also write for Conscious Shift magazine. So you're out there really sharing your message and you're on a mission, to help people. So how can someone reach out and connect with you?
I would love to have people connect with me. You can reach me at ariannthomas.com, and it's ARIANN Thomas.com, or my website is ancestrallineageclearing.com. And I do have some free gifts for people who are listening. And you can go to ancestrallineageclearing.com/healing gifts. And you can get a free copy of my first book, Healing Family Patterns. And I also have some free PDFs like How to Change Your Genetic Heritage and 3 Simple Steps to a Successful Attitude, as well as some coupons for discounts on a private session and my 7 steps to happiness.
Wow, I'm headed there, and I think it's important that all of us really do realize that we all are connected, and that we need to pay attention to. For example, if you're listening to this conversation right now, there's a reason, because you needed this information, and it could be the step to that healing, not only for yourself, but for your entire family all the way back. And of course, the healing the future generations. So it's like taking responsibility in the now, but realizing that you have that ability to affect other people in your family, both past and present. And of course, you have to put in there, everybody does have free will, but why not set up that solid, positive foundation for everyone, in your sphere of energy? So thank you so much. Before I let you go, is there anything you'd like to add?
My motto that I have been using is, when we heal ourselves and we heal our families, we heal the world. And so I would like everyone to take that with them. And blessings to you all.
Well, thank you so much. And everyone, this is Tammy Patzer. Go make it a beautiful day.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.